Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety for FOR chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Frank from Geek Freaks.
And this is Collateral Cinema. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We're podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420-friendly podcast, so whatever you have, be it dabs, blunts, bongs, or joints, smoke it if you got it. And also, welcome to Bad Movie December. By this point, we should already have our pass-through episode out, our annual Neil Breen movie. And this time around, we had to get Frank from Geek Freaks back on, since, he just loves the punishment, I guess.
Mariska Hargitay, Frank.
Mariska Hargitay.
Mariska Hargitay to you both.
Mariska Hargitay. Yes, and we have him here to talk about not just one movie, but two movies for the most part. It's Samurai Cop and Samurai Cop 2, Deadly Vengeance. Oh yeah, man, this is going to be a fun episode because these movies are just such a weird fever dream, right? I mean, it's just like a perfect confluence of crazy, of low effort, and all the effort in the world. I don't know how to really describe it,
That's good. That's so well said, though. I mean, that's perfect because, especially that first one, you could tell, they rented the good cameras for this thing. They thought this was big.
Yeah. Definitely. So we'll start with you, Frank, on our initial thoughts on these movies. What's your experience with Samurai Cop 1 and 2?
So this is my first time watching them, and honestly, to my surprise, Samurai Cop 1, not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh no!
I actually enjoyed it. I was like, this is awful, of course, but it was like that, just the right amount of awful to where I was still enjoying it. And then the sequel came out, number 2 came out, and it stunk of Kickstarter. And it was like, okay, so everybody I'm seeing on screen right now paid a certain tier to be on screen right now, and it was pretty rough. But that first one I think really holds up. And again, like the camera work, it's above what it should have been for this movie. It felt almost like a new movie that was trying to pretend like it was in the 90s. But it was solid, yeah. And you could tell there's a lot of things I like that mimic Samurai Cop. So I know Always Sunny did kind of a thing with this and stuff. So it was fun to visit.
Oh, definitely.
Hell
yeah. And how about you guys? Starting with Ash, what are your initial thoughts on Samurai Cop?
So this was also, I would say this is also my first time watching it, but that's actually not true because we watched this together, you and me, Bo. We were just hanging out while I was down, and we put on Samurai Cop for some reason. We came across it. We thought it was pretty fucking. it was pretty fucking funny. It's just one of those like lightning in a bottle moments where it's like it's just like the right amount of intention and sincerity that truly makes a so bad it's good film like The Room, like at least some of Neil Breen's movies. And yeah, so we were watching this together, and then we went ahead and we put on the second one because we were like, yeah, kick ass. This was actually, kind of fun. Buddy cop movie, kind of going for a Lethal Weapon, I guess. And we put on Samurai Cop 2, and then we're like, oh shit, is that Tommy Wiseau? What the fuck? And I remember hearing that Tommy Wiseau was in a movie called Samurai Cop 2, and it finally connected for me, and I was like, oh shit. So this was a few months ago. So I mean, we immediately were like, yeah, we got to talk about this next season. So yeah, this was, I guess, my second time watching through these movies, and yeah, I mean, this was, but I only came across them recently. I'm kind of surprised that given our penchant for this kind of film, this isn't something that I really even knew much about.
Yeah, definitely. And how about you, Robert? I mean, you just watched these movies for the first time recently, right?
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah,
Just recently. And,
what are your thoughts?
they remind you of late night Andy Sedaris films, really.
That's really what it is, right?
Yeah.
It really sounds. That's like the first thing that I thought of whenever I saw this was like, oh, it's almost like an even more self-aware version of Andy Sedaris. You know? And Andy Sedaris, I mean, he was very self-aware in his own right. I mean, I have a box set with pretty much all of his movies, like 12 of them, and I mean, there's a very specific style, very specific way of filming and everything that's very similar to this.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Julie Strain to pop out too.
I know, right? It's like, I mean, where's Julie Strain when you need her? Of course, she passed away, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's like, man, it's like this would have been perfect for Julie Strain.
Yeah, this movie reminds you of a lot of movies and like different TV shows, like of course Lethal Weapon and like Miami Vice a little bit.
Yeah, and, definitely.
For a second, I was like, is this Riccio?
It did have that quality to it a little bit. I will admit.
Well, with some of the violence and the gore effects,
yeah. There's that Miami Vice thing right there, exchange of drugs and money. But
exactly, that was pretty prevalent in the late '80s and early '90s in these types of movies. I mean, it was always almost some type of weird drug connection.
The Death Merchants,
and here it's. Let's go ahead and get into the first movie because. I mean, the first movie it's just so. What's the word here? I don't even know how to really put it into words. I mean, other than so bad, it's awesome. I mean, you have the lead actors here. What were their names, Matt?
So Matt Hannon, as he was credited in this film, he later changed his name to Caritas. Mark Fraser. Those are the two leads.
Yeah, they have a great chemistry together. First of all, it's like total classic buddy cop shit. But I mean, it's also kind of in on the joke a little bit, like Matt Fraser, like he's always kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, like even just kind of looking at the camera, like like, and that's a dynamic that I immediately kind of grasped on. I mean, I'm just like, oh my god, it's like these two were amazing, and of course, Matt Cardenas. That's how you pronounce it, Cardenas.
Matt Caritas.
Matt Caritas is like he's perfect for this samurai cop. I mean, he's goofy yet stoic at the same time, and it just kind of comes together perfectly. And he's just a lovable oaf, kind of. But,
it's kind of weird because most of these actors have been in seldom else, if anything else. I mean, Matt Caritas, for instance, he did one other film before this that was called American Revenge.
Yeah.
And that was it. You got some other actors that like this is literally like the guy that plays Fujiyama. I mean, Samurai Cop 1 and 2. Those are his only film credits. That's all this dude has ever fucking done. You got Robert Zadar, of course. I guess actually he's technically the other lead.
Yeah, Robert Zadar is a legend in his own right when it comes to cheesy cinema like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he definitely cuts a striking, what's the word? A very striking look.
Like silhouette, maybe?
Silhouette, there, yeah, striking silhouette.
Yeah.
There. And honestly, he's great in his role as well, man. It's like, I mean, you could tell that he's probably taking this like really seriously, you know.
Over everyone else, I think he's taking it the most seriously. I think he's really kind of delivering the bad guy that could have been at the same time, like Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like that. Like he feels like this is his big break maybe, or like this is the next step up. And I think he's outshining everybody else.
Definitely.
It's a shame that we don't see him more often. He has such a distinct look that I think there's something there. Like he could have been big if it was just the right luck.
I'm trying to think of what other movies I've seen Zadar in, because I mean, I know that, I'm pretty sure he's been in some TV roles, but I mean, he
Tango
was,
and Cash
Tango
is
and
probably
Cash.
his biggest one.
Yeah,
And,
Tango and Cash.
Maniac Cop.
Oh shit, that's right. He was Maniac Cop.
Which I think Maniac Cop is one of the films that Amir Shervan looked at when he wrote the script for this. You know, obviously he was watching that. He was watching some Lethal Weapon.
Obviously, obviously.
And because like let's face it, I mean the two cops, they look exactly like
They do. I mean, yeah, Kratos is pretty much a total Mel Gibson clone, more or less.
more or less.
You know,
With way better hair. My God, that hair just like, holy cow.
I know it's like
scene.
it's magnificent. I mean, we're looking at it right now, and it's like
He's wearing a wig in this one.
He's wearing a wig in this one,
Because
but
a lot of this movie's like editorial problems you could notice are a result of reshoots. And one such thing that happened was that Matt Hannon or Matt Kratos now, right after they were done filming initially, and then he thought they were done with the film, he cut his hair. So that's why in like half of these scenes he's wearing a wig instead, which doesn't look like his hair. I mean his natural hair looks great, man.
It's very obvious, like it sticks out really, really big time. Like especially in this chase scene. I mean, you expect it to fall off his head any moment,
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, even then, it's still kind of a magnificent wig, though. It still makes him look amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously fake, but...
Stunt guy.
Oh, it's the stunt guy. Oh, no.
The stunt guy that just changes ethnicity.
Exactly. Like, yeah, he's all of a sudden a white dude, and then... oh my God! Yeah, we have the movie going on in the background, so
I'm clicking through pictures. It's just amazing, like wig on, wig off, wig on.
I know. It's like you can almost make a drinking game off of it. Just whenever you see the wig, take a shot.
You can also make a drinking game out of all of the like misogynistic writing. like
oh my God,
you can tell a man wrote this movie just because of the way that women act. Like women do not act like that. Like that one cop, Peggy, I mean, she hits on Homeboy, she hits on Frank, she hits on that other police dude. She's like, hey, we're gonna be alone here for a while, let's fuck. Like, what the? Women do not act like that.
Who wrote that line?
Where did that come from? Where did that come from,
Or the doctor lady that's like, do you want to fuck me?
What the fuck? Like, it's like, come on now. It's like, no.
That was ridiculous. Best part of that, though, we go right to Mark Fraser, who's like looking at the camera like, did you catch that?
That's so amazing. That's what he's there for in any of those scenes whenever there's some flirting going on. I mean, it's incredible.
He's just like, he's got a look on his face at one shot that's like, damn, homie, all right. And then another that's like, what the fuck?
I mean, hell, he even has a scene with a nude actress, and he looks at the camera and goes, "Oh!" It's like, "Damn!"
I have to ask you guys: are you circumcised?
the gifts that guy had it in his hands, which by the way we see him wearing shorts, so they're okay. But when he's like, "I'm gonna cut off your dick," and the guy's What is this scene I'm watching? I don't understand what's going on right now. It's wonderful.
I think that was when Zadar and company were just trying to locate Karadis' character. He was trying to locate him. Joe. He was trying to locate him, so he just went around to different cops that he worked with and just fucked them up, like he kills that like he kills that one cop and his wife, who's apparently the location was there's a bunch of martial arts shit on the wall, and that was apparently a friend of the director's. So but I mean, yeah, they just completely they fuck Peggy up like really bad with some almost like Ichi the Killer style with the hot oil and everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it's like that goes hard, dude. I don't know why. It just goes so fucking hard.
Yeah, I guess that cop really didn't actually know martial arts because I mean he got his ass handed to him.
Oh, easily. Yeah. I mean,
with no fight.
Yeah. Basically, just watch his wife get murked and do nothing. It's like, yeah, great, dude.
Hey, what's all this shit on the wall?
Speaking of martial arts, I gotta understand here. Why the hell is his name Samurai Cop in the first place? Like, at what point is that established? Other than we brought in the Samurai Cop from San Diego, like it's already the origin story was another movie, and then they bring in the Samurai Cop, and everybody happens to know karate. And guns are eventually used, but let's not forget katanas, which, by the way, means Japanese sword. It's crazy what the lengths they'll go to make sure they can kick somebody.
Yeah, there is one scene where the Katana Gang is talking about Joe, and it sort of establishes why they call him the Samurai Cop, where they're like, he knows fluent Japanese, which he doesn't, obviously.
No, at no point does he actually speak Japanese here.
And he learned, the way of the samurai somewhere, and then they brought him into San Diego, like he said. So they sort of talk about it, but he doesn't really do much samurai shit up until the end, when that one dude comes in with the katana and he kind of gets to show off.
Yeah, and then his final fight was Zadar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much like the most actual, samurai martial arts that we see him doing.
Yeah, most of this movie is just like, most of the combat, the action scenes are duck for cover and shoot,
Yeah,
shoot, duck.
It's very emblematic of its time. It's like, I mean, very basic, almost like Miami Vice style gunplay. You know. It's like, okay, I'm gonna point and shoot at you, and then like go back, and then the other dude comes out, I'm gonna shoot at you, like obviously not how gunfights happen in real life, not how they're depicted in movies nowadays, obviously.
No. Especially not repeating shots to save money, or like, I shot that guy and he fell over. Zero blood or zero dust out of that gun, nothing, or smoke, or whatever. Nothing like that. Just like bang and that guy falls. It's like, okay, yeah, 1930s, gotcha.
and going back to the Andy Sedaris movies, that's exactly how those movies are. They have a very late 80s, early 90s gunplay quality to it.
They go 44 Magnum, right?
Yeah, that apparently nobody can fire. Nobody can actually fire it properly.
Nope.
I like that one scene that it almost felt like a callback to Raiders, where the dude with the katana comes in and he swings his sword around, and then Frank just shoots him.
Yeah. Frank just comes up, just
shoot him.
It's like, hey, Joe, I got your back.
he does that a few times in the movie, where like Joe's kind of trying to do his thing, and then Frank just kind of comes out of nowhere and shoots the guy.
Yeah, seriously.
They got a good dynamic going, they got each other's back, and like even there at the end where they're holding up Fujiyama, and of course he's wearing the bulletproof vest, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even a little bit of gore in this movie. Like there's a guy who gets his head chopped off. Yep. I mean, and there's a guy that gets his arm chopped off as well, and it's a pretty standard gore for its time. Yeah. Honestly, but kind of hilarious to see it in this type of movie. Like we're actually at the scene where Zadar is about to assassinate the injured henchman.
Okay, I have a question to this. Okay, because when she lifts up the cover, he's in doctor's clothes, right?
Yeah.
So if he's in doctor's clothes, why go to the trouble to hide himself?
Who knows, man?
Or if he was going to hide
who
himself,
knows?
why go to the trouble of putting on the doctor's clothes? I don't get it.
Yeah, and he's literally decapitating a man. It's like, wouldn't you not want something that's lily white that's going to have blood all over it? You know?
Right, and also, like, why is she the one wheeling him around? This big ass dude.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I absolutely love how they negated the gore of cutting a guy's head off with him like shrinking back into that little thing again.
Exactly.
It was just such a little like cartoony moment where I was like, oh, all right, bro, I can't take you seriously. You just
gets
dunk
right
that
back
head into
in.
the garbage can.
Right in the garbage can, and then he just gets right back in and she covers him up, and then it's like,
While the
okay.
camera stays still, he like shrinks out of it like somebody did like the elevator trick to a kid. It's just like, great choice, buddy.
Oh my god, that's incredible. It's incredible.
That scene has quite a few reused shots. You could tell, like it's like the same hallway, just shot like right next to each other. And then, of course, you know, there's the ADR where you have the ADR in this movie is fucking priceless because you got the director actually redubbing several of the lines. So I swear to God, there's like they say the same line 4 times where he's like, "Hey, hang on a minute."
I'm pretty sure Joe had some a different sounding voice every now and again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's several characters who you could tell, like again, this goes back to the reshoots, you know. And the other thing that happened as a result of the reshoots are these scenes that are not consistent at all. Like you could tell they were shot at different locations just when you change to the camera on a different character. Like that is not the same building. It's not the same lighting. There's no consistency.
Seriously, I mean that's half the fun of this movie, though, is trying to figure out, you know, hey, where was this actually shot, and are they actually connected to each other? You know, it's kind of once again another part of the drinking game that you can invariably make out of this.
Yes,
you know, but I mean. Yeah, Samurai Cop, the first one, it's good, cheesy 90s fun, man. I really, really love it. And its sequel, though, Samurai Cop 2. Holy shit, what a fucking movie.
25 years after the first film, it was crowdfunded.
Yeah, exactly.
And somehow they managed to get most of the original cast back, including Matt Caratus, who apparently was thought to be dead for some time because he like never did anything after this movie, disappeared from the industry for 2 decades. Homie actually got arrested for armed robbery.
Jesus.
No, I'm not kidding. So in 1992, he took part in an armed robbery stealing a Rembrandt painting from televangelist Gene Scott's University Cathedral in Los Angeles. The painting was found in the home of Karush Jadali, a stunt coordinator who worked on the set of Samurai Cop. Caratus was later arrested and sent to prison. He was largely unaware of the cult status the Samurai Cop had attained.
Because of course he would. I mean, that is an amazing like branch off of his story, you know, of his life story.
That's a
like,
better story than Samurai Cop. Why didn't they just retell that?
Yes, dude, somebody could absolutely make a movie just based off of that, and it would be killer. Like, seriously.
No kidding. So, yeah, but they managed, and apparently the sequel was written with the intention of Mark Fraser being the lead character, because I guess they didn't really actually know if Matt Caratus was okay or where he was at, what he was doing, because you can tell sometimes where the script was probably just written with Frank Washington in mind. But yeah, they did get Matt Caratus back. They got a bunch of the other actors back. Not the lead chick, of course, Jennifer. They switched her out. But
yeah,
the homeboy that plays Fujiyama, this dude's only filmography are these 2 movies. That's it. That's all he's ever done.
Yeah. It makes sense because I mean, if you remember in the first movie, his line delivery was kind of forceful, right?
You know,
just always kind of yelling like this, you know. It's like my guy. It's like, tone it down.
I do feel the performances are a little bit better in the second one. Like, you can tell some of these people have worked, you know, it's been 25 years, right? So they've kind of, you know, worked on their craft. I mean, at least the ones that actually did other acting jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly right. Those who are actual actors, I think, improved, especially I think Joe Marshall actually sounds quite a bit better in this, or Matthew Caratus sounds quite a bit better than this. But there are so many people who are definitely not actors that I think were added in as part of the Kickstarter or the fundraising thing. That were just like there's this one guy who pops up randomly to shoot people, then like fades into the background saying some line that doesn't matter, comes back out, finishes shooting somebody else, then fades back away. And I'm like, how much did that guy pay to get into this movie? And like, he must have hit the $50 range, but that guy has zero acting skills for sure. And then even like the younger dude who like shouts in Japanese, this like super white guy that shouts in Japanese. I don't know if he's ever acted before, but he doesn't seem like I'm looking him up right now. Actually, he's crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that guy is that guy. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Oh, we talk about shouting. We didn't talk about the police chief in the first one. There's a police chief in the second one too, but it's a different character played by a different actor.
It is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because the first police chief is he's primo here, man. I mean,
Man, he just fucking like he is your archetypal police chief, angry police chief character. But then there's that one scene where like the guys walk out of the room and he's done yelling at him and he kind of just leans back. He pauses for a second. It's a little awkward and then he just like laughs.
just like these guys.
And part of me wonders if like that was just like that was just part of the take and they just decided to keep it in.
Probably that makes the most sense, honestly.
Like just given the pause and everything, like maybe the actor just like just had to laugh about it at the end of it, and then they're just like, you know what, let's just keep it. There's a lot of takes like that in the first film, where you can tell that they just kind of like they did it in one take and then they just like kept it.
Exactly. I mean, you could tell that they're probably running out of money and whatnot, so they had to, and then the reshoots had to happen. It's like, you can tell it's very obvious.
But with the second movie, you see a lot less of that. I mean, obviously you can see that this was done more professionally. In a lot of ways, it's a more competent film. Now, a lot of people felt that, with the second movie, it kind of does that. It does follow that trend that a lot of sequels to these types of movies do, where like the sequel becomes self-aware and it loses a little bit of that charm. I'll tell you guys, I liked the second film still. I think it's still kind of like, I think it worked best with that self-awareness. Because like you said, the first one even kind of had an aspect of self-awareness, right?
A little bit of it.
A little bit, right? Like just a tinge, right? So, it kind of does its own thing, and it has plenty of callbacks. Honestly, I think the best part about it is the fact that Tommy Wiseau is in it.
Oh man, and yeah, there's some interesting casting choices here, and who also happen to be executive producers. Tommy Wiseau was an executive producer on this, but also the legendary Bai Ling herself. Oh man, she's actually incredibly memorable in this. She's practically channeling Tommy Wiseau in this movie. She's practically with her delivery and everything. I mean, she pretty much matches his energy like toe to toe.
Yeah, you could tell the actors were told to kind of ham it up, and I think Tommy in particular, they just kind of let him do his thing. They definitely were channeling the ending scene from The Room with that first tantrum we see.
Oh yes. Oh, when we first saw that, oh man, it was triumphant.
It was.
We were just like, yes.
No man, I was fucking jizzing, dude.
Seriously, it was like a pure bliss just to see Tommy, doing what he does best.
His whole death scene was just him hammering it up the entire time. Like he was. They were just gonna let him do it, and they're like, "We need this for the trailer. Just talk it away, and we're gonna film this and just send it out to the Kickstarter folks," because he was really just like letting it fly.
Oh, he was, man. I mean, almost like this stream of consciousness type of delivery,
I think they kind of just let him deliver it. Like, even if he got it wrong or even if he kind of improvised, they just kind of let him go with it. And it honestly works to great effect. I've always said that you can take a person like Tommy Wiseau and with a more competent director writer team, you can really utilize him. There's a character that he works in the context of, and this is Tommy used to full effect here. He just gets to be fucking Tommy Wiseau, and it's amazing.
Seriously, like Robert. I mean, you are very much a Tommy Wiseau aficionado. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was freaking a masterpiece, really.
It's just a masterpiece, a pure Kino.
I would have called it The Room 2, The Rise of Tommy Wiseau.
The Rise of Tommy Wiseau. Holy crap.
And he even says some Japanese, Tommy was so fucking shouting in Japanese. The dude can barely handle English as it is, bless his heart.
Yeah, seriously. and just seeing him with a goddamn katana blade at the end, facing
awesome.
off against Joe Marshall. It's like, oh my God, man. and just spouting off random shit at him. It's just incredible.
Are you Fujiyama?
Yes, I am. Who are you?
I'm a cop.
His real name is Joe Marshall. They call him Samurai. He speaks fluent Japanese. He got his martial arts training from the masters in Japan. Was brought over here from the police force in San Diego to fight us.
Would you like to fuck me?
You're the one that talked me into bringing this moron from San Diego to fight the Japanese katana gang.
Bingo.
I want him dead. I want his head cut off and brought here.
Have you been circumcised?
Yeah, I have. Why?
Well, your doctor must have cut a big portion of it off.
I want his head on this piano so that every man in my organization understands once more that no katana gets captured alive or talks. Got that?
How did you know I'd come home with you?
Let's just say I can read eyes.
I feel like somebody stuck a big club up my ass, and it hurts. I've got to figure out a way to get it out of there.
It's amazing. It's like who gave? It's like Coke with a sword. It's what it looks like. It's just drug-fueled madness, and it's like sharp object in his mouth or in his hands. Get away! I can imagine how many people had to be afraid as hell on set. Back off! Give Tommy 5 feet. He's swinging shit around right now.
Seriously, man, it's like there's no telling what's going to happen here. There's just no fucking telling. So, how many takes do y'all suppose he went through in each of these scenes in his role? How many takes do you think? 0 takes?
No extra takes. Just one. Shoot it through. I gotta get going, guys. I gotta get more kelp chips as soon as I can. He was going fast. He was done.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, I got to agree. I think that they just kind of like let him do it as is. Like I said, even if he didn't get the line right, just fuck it. Like here's a let's just do this kind of stream of consciousness thing. I mean, I'd have to wonder like if somebody just like walked into this movie without the context.
Yeah.
What that would be like.
Seriously. And, I mean, I don't know what's more dangerous, though. Tommy swinging around a sword or Bai Ling swinging shit around, because Bai Ling is herself just a fever dream of a character. Like, I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly what her role was in the whole katana organization or whatever. But
yeah, it gets really confusing because there's at least like 3 different gangs running around.
Yeah, the script itself is admittedly a little convoluted.
It's hard to follow. Like I watched this like 3 times and I still can't really tell you much about like the plot other than, hey, Joe Marshall gets stuck in this gang war and
and it does the kind of the typical thing with the characters of his ilk by having him disappear for a little while after his wife is killed, and then he's pretty much like making these medallions for the gangs or something like that. About Bushido or whatever.
But there's aspects of the script where they're actually referencing the fact that people thought that the actor was dead.
Yeah.
That Matt Kratos was dead. Partly because, like he disappeared from the industry, he got arrested, he changed his name. So, and apparently, like I said earlier, he was kind of unaware of the cult status of the film. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely see where they kind of like wrote the character as referentially to that.
Absolutely.
Coming out, everybody believed he was dead. That was actually kind of neat.
It really was. Yeah. And I mean, just the action in this movie is even hyped up. I mean, it's a lot more modernized. Like we're seeing a lot more shaky cam style fighting, and honestly, the fighting choreography it's not as stilted. I'm like you know how in a lot of those late '80s, early '90s action movies, like if there was any type of martial arts, it kind of had a very unique kind of pattern to it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, here we're seeing more modern fight choreography,
and actually, decent camera work. Because what are the issues with the other film is if you notice, it's a little bit off. Like when they do the close-ups, the characters aren't framed well for that close-up. It's very unconventional. They've kind of like they're like centered in the screen, and that really just doesn't work cinematically. And so, I mean, one thing that the second movie does is that, like a lot of the cinematography does feel more it feels like a real movie. But as far as the script goes, they kind of just go silly with it and embrace the weirdness of the first one. So there's an interesting, kind of dichotomy with that.
Exactly.
Which do you think had a better script? So I think the first one, there was more of an attempt to actually deliver a solid plot, while the second one was much more about effects and leaning in on the fighting and the action and stuff like that. I think the first one actually had a more cohesive storyline. What do you guys think?
Actually, much more cohesive.
Well, and for one, I mean, the first movie was sincere. They were trying to make a serious film, so it at least tries to do that. And honestly, it's not that bad. It really is just kind of like the execution of it that's so hilarious. With the second one, they're kind of leaning into that absurdity. And so, you've got a very different kind of script. Hell, the tone of the movie is very different. Maybe some of that are just the colors, because I know like one thing with the first film is they didn't have the equipment to film at night.
Yeah.
So they filmed everything during the day. The second movie has a lot more, darkness and
also has a very interesting color palette to it. You know, it's a very colorful movie with some interesting set design, actually. Like when you first start the movie and there's that senator having sex with the assassin girl.
Yeah,
it's like that entire. There's like that aquarium in the back, and there's all those weird colored lights and everything. It's like it almost looks like something out of a Rob Zombie movie, practically.
All while they're delivering deliberately clunky exposition.
Exactly. It's like, why are we having this exposition while this girl is completely topless on the top of this guy? What the fuck?
I felt like they were trying to depict it as a near future movie almost. As in something that, because like there was the ball drone thing and some of the weaponry and stuff. It all felt like they were trying to go for
another thing
10 years in the future.
And the corporatism.
And the corporatism, yeah.
Like you're right. I think you're right, Frank. I think this was kind of designed as like a in the near future kind of thing. I mean, they don't necessarily specify a year. They say it takes place 25 years after the first film, which lines up with reality.
Yeah,
and they do shout out 1991 at the beginning of this movie, which they didn't de-age them in any way to do that, but.
Oh no!
They
not
say
at
it's
all.
1991 at the beginning. Yeah,
that was a little confusing because it says 1991, but it's like Baccarat looks much older, and then they've got a completely different actress for Jennifer.
Yeah, it's a little jarring, but it honestly, I think that intro to Samurai Cop 2 just sets the tone for the movie perfectly.
It does.
It does. Like even with the whole shooting of Jennifer, like even that's a little stilted, right?
Yeah. And that guy was young Tommy Wiseau the whole time.
I actually kind of like that. I was like, you know what? This redeems Tommy just announced to me. His character, instead of just tossing him in, I was like, oh, that kind of shows Joe's growth to not just like immediately kill this guy or whatever, because Joe came into this story as a pacifist. He goes through this, you feel like he's falling back into that samurai cop. I feel like that's what the dreams are kind of leading to, is like, you should go back to being a samurai cop. But then at the end, when it's like he's confronted with literally, his wife or girlfriend's killer, the fact that he doesn't just go off the hinge right away, it's kind of like, oh, look, you're back to being not necessarily the pacifist, but justice leaning. I thought that was actually a pretty good tie-in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those hallucination or dream sequences for a second.
What were we seeing on the TV? Like, were they watching themselves? I was so confused.
It almost felt like Robert. You remember in Natural Born Killers when they have the flashback to Mallory's. Mallory's home life and everything.
Yeah,
you know, and it's presented like a television show.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It kind of felt like that in a way.
Fuck yeah, that movie was a trip.
Yeah,
Natural Born Killers.
But I mean, I still don't really know why they put those in this movie. I don't think it really makes the narrative any more coherent. In fact, it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, okay, he's on the TV now, apparently.
Yeah. And then there's that like weird like samurai dream he has.
Oh yeah, that shit.
And then they even managed to bring Gerald Okamura back.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Who plays a character named Okamura.
Yeah, and I believe that he was in some Andy Sedaris movies as well. He was Elvis Fu.
Hell yeah, shit.
Yeah. Basically, No. There's an Andy Sedaris movie where this dude is dressed up like Elvis, and he's in a Vegas showroom playing Elvis tunes, and I'm just like, what are we even doing here?
Hey, that's homie from he's in Big Trouble in Little China. Also.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Big Trouble in Little China.
I think the best side character of anybody has to be, he's played by Joselito Roscabo, and I can't even say his...
I know exactly who you're talking about. You're talking about the waiter who's the gun runner.
Which that entire sequence in the first movie, I'm just like, who thought this was the idea to not distract the entire audience for your whole movie by have this guy just kind of like play it up a little bit. And then the fact that they brought him back in as like a reoccurring character that we're going to see through 10 more of these movies, you know, like Fast and the Furious franchise.
Alfonso Rafael Federico Sebastian.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. He says that entire fucking name
and
as well.
That's just his first name.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's his first name.
Him and the guy who got his arm cut off at the first movie.
I know. I mean, it does kind of show how they were really dedicated to trying to recapture the feel of the original movie. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have to have him back, but in a way, it made sense to have him back, you know? It just made the most sense. And, I mean, he doesn't have a very long scene in the original movie, much more than this one, but, I mean, he's so memorable, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You just remember, he's the waiter who turns out to be a gun runner. It's like, dude was a gun runner the whole time. It's like, really? And then he just ends up as a fucking as a flight attendant.
Yeah,
it's like
the taxi driver.
And the taxi driver.
Everything.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
If they were to make a bunch more of these, I'd expect him to constantly be showing up as something and be kind of the cue for this entire thing, like the guy you'd go to whenever you need to get out of a pinch, someone who knows everybody around the globe, and maybe he has just that gadget, the MacGuffin you needed to get some victory. And he'd just be kind of like our Gandalf or our Q for these guys. I'd be so happy with that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that would be amazing. Seriously. Oh my God. Also, they brought Peggy back, and she's apparently running I guess it's a bar and a donut shop in the same. Like, I don't know. I guess it's a bar donut shop.
Are you my daddy?
Yes, she has a daughter, and that's the first thing that she says to Joe. It's like, "Are you my daddy?" And it's like, probably. I mean, it's like, he did sleep with her,
and then they just keep going.
Yeah, they just keep going, and they don't even like they don't even lampshade it at all.
No.
And I just love, like, in both of these movies, I just love Joe Marshall's way with the women. It's just so,
that's right.
It's so corny.
Yeah, that's right.
But he nails it though. He gets the ladies.
You know, the sex scenes, we haven't talked about the gratuitous sex scenes. I think the second film actually has porn actresses.
Yeah. There was actually porn. Did you remember that random, like the lesbian scene that just randomly showed up? Like, yeah,
why?
I think we all just stopped for a second watching, and then after that, it was like, okay, that happened. It's like, it's with Bai Ling, and she's just going all full in on it. It's like,
it's straight up softcore porn at that point.
Yeah.
Practically.
This is a fun movie to put on in the TV when you're visiting your parents for the holidays.
Yeah, that's nice.
No, my mom was watching this, you know, like while doing chores around the house, because I'm working from remote. And while I'm down here for a few weeks for the holidays, so I have this on the TV in the living room while I'm working from my laptop, and
oh wow,
I'm trying to like tell my mom, I'm like, no, well, you know, it's supposed to be bad. Well, while we're watching the second, I mean, I watched both of those today back to back again, and I remember telling her I was like, well, you know, here it's like they're actually like going for it. They're trying to make a bad movie, or like a so bad it's good movie.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the sex scenes, I mean, they very much have that, especially in the first movie, they have that kind of Skinamax quality to them.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, especially like Andy Sedaris movies. You know, it's like there's a real kind of Skinamax quality to that. And but in some way, I mean, especially the first movie, they just kind of transcend that a little bit, you know? They transcend the softcore Skinamax thing, and it's just actually an entertaining movie through and through, you know?
Well, I think they shot them on the beach for a bit, and then they're just like, we'll put this throughout the movie off and on, and we'll close out with this. It was kind of a weird scene. They were just like, yeah, we hang out at the beach all the time. I don't know. To me, it felt like it was a very, very weird thing for this character to be into in the first place. I know that you're trying to like go with the whole California vibes, which that's, you know, whatever, but I just felt like it was so misplaced, and all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we're back on the beach. And that's how it closed, back on the beach. And it was just, I think they just told Joe, like, hey, go get your Speedo and head out there. It was weird to jump in all the time.
That fucking Speedo.
Happy birthday to you.
Just comes out with a big ass chocolate cake. It's like, bro, did you make that? Where did you get that?
Yeah.
Jesus
he does
Christ.
cook for pretty ladies. He says that's something he's very good at.
Yeah, that is true. He does cook a meal for.
What's up with the kale chips and then the kombucha in the second one?
I guess it's just because he gave up. He probably just gave up meat as well. He probably went vegan to be consistent with his views and everything, with his pacifism.
Oh, I bet you just get a hard on thinking about that, Bo.
Oh man, if the samurai cop is vegan, that would be awesome. That would be fucking awesome.
I assumed they probably funded some of the movie. I mean, it was the same ones, and even like when Tommy's freaking out, they happen to be stacked up on the table that he's flipping over. They made sure they were in a lot of shots. The actual brand name, they even mentioned like, oh, it's from Portland, Oregon, or whatever it was. Like, you don't know your West Coast. Like, they even mentioned kind of one of their taglines. I felt like those kale chips.
No, that was paid.
We're
paid
buying space on there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, there was also this one moment where they had these beautiful panning shots. I think they got kind of like, you know, stock video for, but one of them when it was panning over L.A., they put in an ad for some lawyer or something like that. That was a real ad. It wasn't part of this like generic shot. Like you could tell it doesn't quite sync well. It's kind of moving as they zoom around. And I was like, oh, okay, somebody paid to have their ad in this movie. And they just kind of like dug or like, you know, pasted it in or whatever. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. That makes the most sense there. Definitely.
And even in referring back to when they've done something like this and other stuff, but going back to Always Sunny, they did kind of this thing with, God, I can't remember, but they were basically making a new Skinamax movie too, just like this. And they kept talking about how they're having seaweed strips on set all the time. And that was like a big thing that they were doing there. So I was like, oh, okay. So it's just a full on nod to this. That was fantastic. I loved it.
That is really fucking cool, man. I would definitely see Always Sunny doing stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's a consistently great show.
And I got to tell you, Mark Fraser is one of those actors that is so much better in the second movie.
He is way better. I mean, he's on point 100%. You know, he does kind of provide that little fourth wall break every now and again. You know, just in his reactions, and he's just pretty much there just to react to Joe hitting on random women. Like he's just like, yeah, ooh.
Well, but he has his own moment in the second movie because he does like I've got a black gift, and then he looks right to the camera like, remember the first movie?
He just straight nods to the audience. It's amazing.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's incredible, man.
You know, you could tell that this the Samurai Cop 2 was written with love for the first film. Like, you know, let's go, let's reach out, let's get all of these actors back together. Hey, even the guy that lost his fucking arm, let's throw him in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to respect it for that. And you know, at least in terms of execution, it's a more competent film. But, you know, obviously, you know, as we mentioned earlier, I think the first film's script just kind of it's trying harder and it shows.
Yeah, it's like, trying a little harder,
as we mentioned earlier.
But it's like, yeah, once you give these actors a script where they can just kind of go full on ham and everything, it's like, I mean, yeah, it actually becomes even more entertaining.
You know,
it makes for a really entertaining movie.
Yeah, and even beyond the script, I think Robert Zadar, anchored the villain side of the story so much better than the entire cast of villains they had in the second one. Zadar did such a good job of being like iconic and like, okay, no matter what happens, whoever the boss is, Zadar is the target. And then in another one, you had like moving in and out bad guys, and you couldn't really keep track of them, and like it was kind of messy. Like Tommy at some point was the bad guy, but then even he wasn't that big of a threat. You didn't have a Zadar-like character.
Look,
no,
the hair comes off. See it?
Oh, yeah, the hair's coming off. Oh, shit.
Came off for that one shot.
That's funny. Yeah, Zadar is sorely missed. Maybe that is one thing that you can tell is vacant. You know, like, yeah, there's not really even a character that kind of takes up the mantle. And that's just unfortunate. I mean, the actor, obviously, you know,
I kind of think that maybe Bai Ling was supposed to be that character, but I don't really know if they executed that well enough.
Or it's almost like it's kind of like shared between Bai Ling and Tommy Wiseau in a sense. But Yeah, it's a little, I don't know, it's almost like how, like, you know, L dies halfway through Death Note, and then they've got like two characters that are kind of like L, and together they can do what L did, but you know, that's just not the same.
But no, it's just pale in comparison. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I went there. Nier and Mello are nowhere near the quality of L.
No, there is like no argument there.
And Tommy Wiseau, bless his heart, you know, he occupies his own space in this film doing something completely different, but him along with Bai Ling just don't quite measure up to Robert Zadar's, you know, role in the context of the first film.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I guess that we can go ahead and start getting into our final thoughts on this movie. We'll go ahead and go with you, Frank. Go ahead.
You know, that first one I think is just the right feeling for that 90s nostalgia if you wanted something that was in the realm of Lethal Weapon or Blue Streak or any of those kind of cop movies we used to get, Beverly Hills Cop, we used to get that in the late 80s or whatever. I think it's a fun one to put on, and every so often you'll catch a line that'll throw you off or a piece of misogyny that just sticks out like a sore thumb, but it just kind of takes you back to those days. And I think Samurai Cop 2 is kind of one of your higher budget sci-fi channel type movies where it too has its own place. It might not be a place that I would visit often, but Samurai Cop 1, I think, is something I would definitely revisit when I just wanted something to put on and watch TikTok on the side.
Yeah, I've been meaning to actually check out the riff tracks for this movie. Like I mean, it's pretty much like one of the penultimate classic riff tracks episodes. So, I mean, I have yet to check that out.
You guys should make those, by the way. I think this might be off of my kind of discussion, but I think that would be great for Collateral Cinema to make riff tracks for some of these movies. That would be hilarious.
We've kind of sort of done something like that.
We've done commentaries. We could do something like that on YouTube, though.
Yeah, we totally could.
Like, we could totally do like a Mystery Science Theater kind of thing. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Fantastic idea.
Yeah, no, we should do that. What do you think, Robert? You wanna be one of the bots? You want to be Crow T Robot?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll like Ash, you could be the Tom Servo.
All right.
And then I'll be Joel.
That's perfect.
All right. Robert, final thoughts.
Well, I've only seen it like once, but yeah, I guess this movie's like a cult classic now, right? Like
absolutely.
For how nostalgic it really is, but it makes me want to put it on a few more times and then just find out what else is out there on Tubi, really, you know?
Yeah, this is a really, really good deep cut on Tubi, honestly. Like, if you're one of those people that really likes Tubi for its selection, it's like, I mean, these two movies are really fantastic.
Hell yeah.
They're free on YouTube, by the way, if you don't want to fire up Tubi. Just throw that.
Yeah, and they're free on YouTube as well.
Okay,
yeah. I think that's what we're playing right now is the YouTube one.
Wish I could say more about it, but, you know, I've only seen it once, you know, really.
Well, how about the second one?
The second one, I've only seen it once, too.
Yeah.
So I really can't say too much about it other than Tommy Wiseau's performance.
Oh, it was so amazing.
It was very Marlon Brando-ish, you know.
As usual, just channeling Brando and Dean.
He brought that streetcar-ness out, you know.
He did. 100%. All right, Ash.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think both of these films as a combined experience is a fun time. Like I would definitely see myself watching both of these at a later point, but, you know, again, especially Samurai Cop 1. Like that's definitely a movie I would recommend to a fan of this type of cinema for sure. Like this is something that was like kind of like just sort of missing from our consciousness, really. I mean, like you know, for Collateral Cinema, because it's right up our fucking alley.
Just think of how many knockoffs there are, though.
Yeah, right.
Like after this. Right?
Well, I mean, the aforementioned Andy Sedaris movies, for one. You know. Which we will get into eventually. I would actually really like to talk about Hard Ticket to Hawaii or Day of the Warrior or something like that with goddamn Buff Bagwell in it.
Malibu Express.
Malibu Express with Buff Bagwell.
Buff Bagwell.
It's like, oh my god. It's like, I mean, are we going to put Judy Bagwell on a poll for that?
Damn it.
But Samurai Cop is exactly what it sounds like. You know, like my mom, I remember mentioning, I put the movie on, like I said, my mom was watching, and I told her, I was like, this is Samurai Cop. She's like, that sounds terrible.
No, that's exactly what she would say.
And I said, it is terrible, but it's great.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
And like, she knows about like you know, The Room and stuff, and she'll even kind of quote it with me because she's seen some of the scenes.
Yeah.
So, fucking A, Samurai Cop 1 and 2 both are a fun time, but especially Samurai Cop 1.
It really is. Lots of fun. Now, for me, it's like Ash said, this is absolutely a 100% Collateral Cinema style movie right here, because this is everything that we look for when we want like good, cheesy, campy, like 90s cult cinema. You know, I mean, it's got everything. It's got the nudity. It's got the action. It's got the gore. It's got, and then the second movie is just so reverential to the first one. You know, and Tommy Wiseau, I mean, what can you say, man? I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, the fact that he even executive produced this, it's like, I mean, it kind of shows that he knows exactly what his place in the world of cinema is, you know? He knows that space well. Yeah. So, I mean, to have this second movie come out and have Tommy Wiseau be attached to it and getting Mark Horatus and Matthew Fraser back, it's like, I mean, it's fantastic. And it's a great couple of movies to just put on and just waste an afternoon, you know?
Hell yeah. And any chance to see Tommy Wiseau just be Tommy Wiseau, because I mean, there's just so little of it that's out there. I mean,
I know, right?
When you really think about it, so to get to see more of that is just a fucking treat. Like, how the fuck were we not aware of these movies on account of Tommy Wiseau being involved?
I know, man. like seriously. So yeah, definitely spend an afternoon watching these movies. You will not be disappointed at all.
We knew this day would come. He has returned.
Joe Marshall?
He is our Antichrist, and he must be defeated.
One continuous stream, which is never ends.
All right. Yes, that is our episode on Samurai Cop 1 and 2, and that pretty much ends Bad Movie December for us. Frank, we're going to go ahead and let you plug what's going on with Geeks Freaks.
Just end of year stuff for us. Google Geek Freaks, you'll find us, and we're doing all kinds of stuff. But let's use this time to actually shout out. You guys have a video game podcast, correct?
Yep, Collateral Gaming.
I don't hear you guys talk about it very much. Tell me what's going on with that. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, Bo always gives me a spot to plug it every episode, and we do collabs and stuff. But Collateral Gaming, where we kind of do, we have our own show. I guess it's as good as time as any to go ahead and plug what's going on. We just did release. Our Game Lunch review on Mario and Luigi Brothership. Originally, we were going to do a 2-part episode on it, but I've kind of, due to an oversight in the numbering of the episodes, because I wanted Super Metroid to be our episode 50, and then just due to the timeline or scheduling issues, we've gone ahead and knocked that down as a numbered episode. So this month is our Zelda month. We're going to be covering Ocarina of Time in 2 parts. We have Mr. Dan Rockwood returning for at least one of those episodes, as well as guests from the last video game podcast. So we'll be recording that here this weekend as of the time of recording this. So that should be out, at least part 1, by the time this is released. And then our holiday special is going to be on The Grinch, something we meant to do last year. So this season, we're going to go ahead and do specifically the Dreamcast and PS1 version of the game. So that'll be fun. Both Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema will have a year in review episode at the beginning of the year, sometime next month. And then, as mentioned previously, Super Metroid will be our 50th episode of the show. Again, I'm going to do a 2-part episode on that. So that'll be coming up in January. I'm calling this season of Collateral Gaming the Golden Season, Season 7, and because we're doing both Ocarina of Time and Super Metroid finally in our 7th season, as well as we covered Doom this season. So it's a great season to cover some of the classics, and we've got a lot more planned. We also have there's another media project that we've been doing called Collateral Let's Play. Bo and I have been recording those on YouTube. You can find those on both YouTube channels. We did just record our most recent Phoenix Wright Wednesday episode, and we're also doing Call of Duty Saturdays. We may return to Beat 'em Up Fridays here in the near future, and we're going to have specifically for the holiday special, we're going to be covering Parasite Eve for Let's Play. That should be out by Christmas Day. I think by the time this is out, that should be out.
Yeah. We're playing awesome. Day 1. I mean, that is a Christmas game, 100%. It occurs on Christmas Eve.
Day 1 of Parasite Eve. For Collateral Cinema, we should have out our holiday special on Terrifier 3 with Josh from
Abyss Gazing
and Victims and Villains.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff right there. But real quick, Phoenix Wright, how are you guys liking that as a Let's Play? That doesn't feel like it would be a fun Let's Play, but I bet you guys would be very entertaining during it.
Oh, you haven't watched any of them, have you?
No, not yet.
We have a lot of fun with it. We're doing all the character voices or whatever. I've played through I've played through all of the Ace Attorney games, most of them multiple times. So, and I shared recently this series with Bo, and we played through the original trilogy and together. And so now we're going back through and introducing Robert to it. And I got to say, like, I think we're pretty entertaining.
That's awesome.
I feel entertained while doing it.
I would say so. Yeah, we do all of the characters, like Gumshoe, pal. Like, wait just 1 second here, pal. How dare you say that about Mr. Edgeworth?
And Mr. Edgeworth, objection.
Yes, sir.
Watch out, guys. You guys are gonna get yourself a spot at Samurai Cop 3 with that voice.
No shit.
Oh, bitch.
Oh my god.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun going through those games. Fucking love the Ace Attorney franchise, and I'm happy to get these boys involved in it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We've covered pretty much all the games now at some point on Collateral Gaming, and then in some form or fashion, besides the Professor Layton spinoff, which I've played. Yeah, and it's great. That's a great game.
I haven't even gotten to the Professor Layton game yet, so
crossover game. That one's a lot of fun. But hopefully with the Phoenix Wright Wednesdays, we'll actually make our way through every game in the franchise. I guess at some point we might call it Apollo Justice Wednesdays or Ryunosuke Naruhodo Wednesdays.
Exactly.
Or Miles Edgeworth Wednesdays.
Exactly. Right on. And yes, Collateral Cinema, as we said, our pass-through episode should be out by now. So listen to that. And for the director's cut, we're going to do our post-holiday episode, and that is going to be on Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job Crimbus special on DVD.
Yes, I forgot to mention for Collateral Gaming, we'll have our post-holiday bonus round episode, as per usual, focusing on the Angry Video Game Nerd. So we'll do our top 5 season 3 episodes.
Oh, that's a lot of fun, man. Yes, I love doing the Angry Video Game Nerd episode because, I mean, as most of our listeners know, I do a watch through of all of the Angry Video Game Nerd episodes near the end of the year, just for the holidays and everything. So we've started actually kind of reviewing and ranking his work, James Rolfe's work. So yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
That's perfect. That's cool.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that ends this episode. Thank you very much for being here. Frank, I guess you could find Geek Freaks on all the socials, right?
Oh yeah, you'll find us everywhere. Just look around.
Right on. Yes, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads. And also, we have a TeePublic affiliate link that should be in the show notes, and you can get yourself some Collateral Media and Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming swag. We have shirts, hats, cell phone cases, and everything. It's check that out. And also, we do have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee. So hit us up there, give us a little money, and help us out here.
Hell yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Real quick, what kind of bonus content do you guys do for your Patreon?
Mostly commentaries, but we haven't really done one in a long while.
I was just thinking, that's the perfect place for your guys' riff tracks right there to kind of test them out and have fun with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. We do the commentaries. We haven't done one in a while. We've done some Let's Plays on the Collateral Gaming Patreon as well, but we've also kind of turned that into our own separate YouTube content. So, but yeah, go check us out on Patreon. I think very soon here, I may actually start adding to the Patreon content, at least on the other show. So
yeah. Same here.
I've got a capture card now. So, and yeah, we should record some commentary soon. That would be fun, man. Or maybe we should try a new series out.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
Hell yeah.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this episode. I've been Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor, and I will bring you his head, and I will place it on your piano.
And I'm Frank, the guy with the head.
And this was Collateral Cinema and Geek Freaks. Have a good night, everybody. Laters.
Bye.
Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.